एक और चीज देखता हूँ कि आईसिस का या पाकिस्तान का झंडा निकलता क्यों है। ये झंडा उसी वजह से निकलता है संजय साहब, कश्मीरी फ्रस्ट्रेशन की वजह से। कश्मीरी गुस्सा, लेकिन गुस्से से ज़्यादा फ्रस्ट्रेशन जो है, जब वो समझता है कि अब कुछ भी नहीं है, हम मरना ही बेहतर है। और यही चीज़ मुझे लाती है जो टेररिज्म में आज हो रहा है। ये बड़ा स्केरी सिनारियो मुझे नज़र आ रहा है कश्मीर में, क्योंकि अगर आप देखें पिछले 4-5 महीनों में हालात कुछ बिगड़ रहे हैं। और वो क्यों बिगड़ रहे हैं? जब तक हम उसकी रूट कॉज में नहीं जाएंगे तो ये बिगड़ते जाएंगे। लेकिन सोचने की चीज़ ये है कि पढ़े लिखे अच्छे फैमिलीज़ के लड़के आज मिलिटेंसी में क्यों जा रहे हैं, क्यों शामिल हो रहे हैं, वो आईसिस का नाम क्यों ले रहे हैं और वो आईसिस के झंडे क्यों लहरा रहे हैं। आज मिलिटेंसी का ये हाल है या टेररिज्म का, इट हैज़ गॉन सो डीप अंडरग्राउंड कि बाप को बेटे का नहीं मालूम, भाई को भाई का नहीं मालूम और माँ को बेटों का नहीं मालूम। तो इट्स अ वेरी डेंजरस काइंड ऑफ सिनारियो। इसका भी किसी को सोचना चाहिए और ये भी सोचना चाहिए कि ये हो क्यों रहा है, ये फ्रस्ट्रेशन कहाँ से उभर रही है, क्यों उभर रही है। पाकिस्तान तो ऑब्वियसली फ़ायदा उठाएगा, इसका उठाता रहा है। मैं खुद ये समझता हूँ, और मैंने इसमें शायद कहीं जिक्र भी होगा कि मेरी समझ में जो थोड़ी बहुत मेरी समझ है कश्मीर के बारे में, पाकिस्तान बाजी हार चुका है कश्मीर में। इसको कश्मीरी बहुत अच्छी तरह समझता है और पाकिस्तान भी समझता है। किसी ने जिक्र किया था कि मैं ट्रैक 2 में इन्वॉल्व रहा हूँ 2008 के बाद, जब से मुंबई 26/11 हुआ, उसके बाद मैं बहुत मिला हूँ पाकिस्तानियों से। और अब पाकिस्तानी ज़्यादा कश्मीर की बात नहीं करते हैं। आपको मालूम होगा पिछली इलेक्शन में पहली बार है कि पाकिस्तान की इलेक्शन में कश्मीर वॉज नॉट रेज्ड एज एन इशू। और पाकिस्तानी कश्मीर के बारे में डिस्कशन नहीं चाहता। मैं कई बार डिस्कशन मैंने शुरू करवाया, मैंने कहा क्या हुआ आपके कोर इशू को आप बात नहीं कर रहे? कहते यार छोड़ो, नहीं है वो, नहीं कुछ उसमें कुछ नहीं होगा, सियाचिन की बात करो। तो फिर उनको समझाना पड़ता है कि अब सियाचिन भी नहीं होगा, जब तक कश्मीर नहीं होगा सियाचिन भी नहीं होगा। किसी ने कहा कि I'm very flattered, sir, I'm very honored that somebody should think I should write a sequel, or I am competent to write a sequel. It seems a very tempting idea after how this book has done, but it's not a very easy option, and I know my wife is already giving me dirty looks. But if I ever want to think of it, I will come back to you, sir. My young friend here suggested, we were discussing Kashmir last evening, and he said, what is this Vajpayee years? We should call the next one Kashmir the gumption to love. And actually, you need gumption to love. And if I might say at the end, this book, whatever anyone might think it to be, is at the end a love story. It's a love story for Kashmir and for Kashmiris. And I have had an association of 27 years now with Kashmir. And I can only say it has been a many splendid experience. Thank you very much.
Time for about 2 or 3 questions, and once we are through the question, then there'll be a brief summing up before the vote of thanks. So, who would like to ask the first question? Let's begin with the young man at the end, please.
Hello. So there was no mention of Article 370 anywhere in the panel discussion as such, but I would like to ask that as an Indian, isn't Article 370 the reason for bias in the minds of non-Kashmiris for Kashmir? Because on one hand, the Kashmiri, Jammu and Kashmir is a part of India, is what everyone says, but on the other hand, they also want a special provision for themselves. So isn't that a kind of a double speak?
Sorry, I didn't touch on 370. It's in the book. And no, I don't think there's any double speak. Let's face it, that Kashmir enjoys a special status. It has enjoyed a special status. And it is special. So I think we have to face that reality. As far as 370 goes, as an Indian, I don't think anybody needs to be worried because there's nothing left in 370. It has been so badly eroded that all that is left is a fig leaf for the Kashmiri. So why would you want to deny that fig leaf to the Kashmiri? That's the way I look at it. Let it be.
Okay, next question, please. Next question, yes, please.
Good evening, sir. My name is Shashwat Gupta Ray from Sakal Times newspaper. So one of the major vexed issue in the Kashmir problem is the issue of pundits, the return of pundits. So, and this is still remaining unsolved despite BJP in a coalition power in J&K. So how do you look at this entire vexed issue of pundits returning back to Kashmir and a final solution to Kashmir problem?
No, that's a very good question. I'm sorry I didn't touch on that. I have mentioned it in the book. I think the Kashmiri Pandits must go back. They have to go back. But it's not going to be an easy process, let's face it, because there is still a threat. There is still scare. After all, Kashmiri Pandits left very reluctantly, and they left because of a great threat, because of the scare that there was. So it's difficult to overcome that scare. And I think whether it is the BJP or whether we had Congress in the coalition earlier, or whether we had the NDA, Mr. Vajpayee's government, or whoever it is, the point is that everybody realizes, I think even Modi ji will realize that it's easier said than done. You know, this government has been talking about building a special colony or an enclave for the Kashmiri Pandits and taking them back wholesale. That, I think, is not going to happen, nor should it happen, because the Kashmiri Pandits must go back in a much more natural, organic way, and they must go back. It has to be a gradual process. And they must go back, and I think it's for the Kashmiri leadership, the Kashmiri Muslim leadership, to call the Pandits back. And I think this appeal must be made together for once. The so-called mainstream and separatist leaders must do it together and do it genuinely. It should not be just an artificial cosmetic call. It should be a genuine call to the Kashmiris to come back. Some families have gone back, but very few. And it is an issue, it is a question. What troubles me more than that is that, you know, the last three governments, this present government, despite the fact that the BJP is in coalition, the government before this, when the Congress was in coalition, the government before that, which was Ghulam Nabi Azad's government, and the government before that, which was Mufti Saab's government. 4 successive governments have not had a Pandit minister in the cabinet. You know, Mufti Saab had one very junior person, and he was neither here nor there. But there is no reason why any government in Jammu and Kashmir should not have a Kashmiri Pandit in the cabinet. And I think this is something which the government needs to think of. The last Kashmiri Pandit, and he was a regular fixture in the National Conference, was P.L. Handu, if you remember, the Kashmiri boys here will remember Handu Sahab. He was a lawyer from Anantnag, and he was part of Dr. Farooq's baggage, so he was always around.
Yes, please.
So my name is Praful Talera. So the real reason why Pakistan was created, the geopolitical reason, was as a double buffer for the USSR. So wouldn't fast-tracking SARC be a right way to stabilize Pakistan and solve the Kashmir issue for good?
I am not sorry, sir. I didn't understand the question. Could you?
So the geopolitical reason, as I understand, was why Pakistan was created was to contain the USSR.
Oh, I didn't realize that. No, I don't know.
Come on, sir.
Okay, yes, please.
What is your view about Sajjad Lone being the next potential person in Kashmir, considering especially the background where he comes from? His father was killed by a separatist, he himself was a separatist, then turned into mainstream. His wife was the daughter of a renowned Azad Kashmiri leader.
Amanullah Khan.
So he kind of has unusual upbringing, if I may use the word. Would he be able to do something in Kashmir in the future?
No, I think Sajjad is. I'm very partial, so I like him, and therefore I would say that I think he has a great future. But he has to still learn politics a little more, and he also needs to understand the tricky Delhi-Srinagar relationship. It's not as simple as it looks from one side, and that is why I have taken the liberty to say that Dr. Farooq is the tallest of the Kashmiri leaders, because nobody has understood better than Dr. Farooq. You know, the one great thing about Farooq is his unpredictability. And nobody has understood Farooq's unpredictability because it's deliberate. He does it for style, for this thing, because he is quintessentially Kashmiri. And the Kashmiri resents nothing more than being taken for granted. Even these bachas here would not like to be taken for granted. Am I right, Sanjay sir?
Yes, please. First, go ahead.
Sir, my name is Kunal Borkar. Sir, after 69 years of independence, Kashmir is still a burning issue. So, what according to you is the best possible ways to address the issue of Kashmiris and bring them into the mainstream permanently?
आप ठीक कह रहे हैं, 69 years अभी भी है. I mean, this is there. It's unfortunate, but I don't think it's a burning issue anymore. I don't think it's burning, nor is it going anywhere. It's going to stay with us. But वो मैंने जिक्र किया था कि I think engagement is the best this thing. हम भूल जाते हैं जब हालात कुछ सुधरते हैं या कुछ लगता है कि सब कुछ ठीक है. I think we are quite satisfied with the status quo. And my belief is that the status quo actually works against us. Because when the going is good, you need to push further and further. इसका solution क्या है? ये बड़ा अजीब और गरीब आपका सवाल है. Solution एक तो इसका बड़ा सीधा solution है जो डॉक्टर फारूक बार बार कहते हैं कि LOC को international boundary बना दीजिए. That is where the heart of the solution lies. और मुशर्रफ साहब का जो 4-point फॉर्मूला था, अगर कश्मीरी उसको ठीक ढंग से समझें तो वो भी एक तरह यही कह रहे थे मुशर्रफ साहब भी. और इसीलिए मैं मानता हूँ कि 25-27 साल से जब से मैं कश्मीर को देख रहा हूँ कि मुशर्रफ से ज़्यादा रीजनेबल कोई पाकिस्तानी लीडर नहीं हुआ कश्मीर के मसले को लेके. लेकिन हमारे यहाँ प्रॉब्लम ये रही कि भाई इसको ट्रस्ट किया जाए नहीं किया जाए. इसने कारगिल किया, ये तो बहुत अनरिलायबल चीज़ है. तो तो मुशर्रफ साहब कहते रहे कि भैया भूल जाइए कारगिल को, लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. This is, I think, the trick in this whole thing. I'm very happy that we are beginning to talk again, because if war is not an option, and I think Vajpayee साहब said this in Lahore in February '99 कि हम जंग ना होने देंगे. And I think Dr. Manmohan Singh also said this after 26/11 in some way or another, that war is not a realistic option. Then what is the option? You stay long term, kutti, kab tak kutti mein rahoge? And my friend Jayant Umranikar said that I wish Pakistan was not that close to us as it is. On the contrary, I wish it was a little closer to us. Then maybe we would not have some of these problems. Because, again, like the great Vajpayee said in Lahore, you can choose friends, but you can't choose your neighbors. This is a reality. तो ये बात जो उफा में शुरू हुई और जो अब दिल्ली में चलेगी, I think ये बड़ी अच्छी शुरुआत है. इसको आगे ले जाना चाहिए. और फिर क्या कहते हैं, गुफ्तगू बंद ना हो, बात से बात निकलेगी.
Okay, time for just two last questions. Yes, sir. Right here, then the back.
I would like to go back in the historical facts. It is said that the blame for this Kashmir problem lies with Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru. I am too much say junior to pass any comments on that. But it is said that when the army went up to Baramulla, he gave the instructions to have a ceasefire and bring the army back. Had Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel would have been there, he would have allowed the army to go forward, and we could have won the whole territory, and the problem would have been solved. Any comment from you, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, that's a viewpoint, and I respect your viewpoint, sir. That's an oft-stated viewpoint. But to my way of thinking, that what has happened over the years and what we've seen happening, I think the accession of Kashmir to India may have been much more difficult if Pandit Nehru had not been around. Because Sheikh Saab says repeatedly, and he has said it in his autobiography also, Atish-e-Chinar, that he said, and he said this to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, that you must understand that we acceded to India despite our religious affinity with Pakistan, because of two great people in India in whom we had full faith, Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So let me go a little further into this, not into history, but to repeat a fact which I have stated here in this book, because a very wise person in Kashmir told me this. You see, much of the mystery or the mystique of Kashmir or whatever went wrong between Sheikh Saab and Panditji lies buried in that great correspondence between the two. If I could lay my hands on that correspondence, I promise I will write as he could. But I once asked, now the gentleman is 92 years old, and he is a renowned historian and academician in Kashmir, Aga Ashraf Ali. His son, incidentally, Aga Shahid Ali, was an even more renowned Kashmiri American poet. I asked Aga Saab this question about 2 years ago. I think it was soon after his 90th birthday. I said, Aga Saab, what went wrong between Sheikh Saab and Panditji? Can you explain it to me? He said, and like all good Kashmiris, Aga Saab used to choose his words very carefully and would speak very little. But that day, after a couple of whiskeys, he said, Sheikh Saab was a great man. He had a heart of gold but no brains. And he could not fathom what Jawaharlal Nehru was trying to do in Kashmir to save Muslims in the rest of the country. And then he also added that Sheikh Saab could not understand the impact that partition had in North India. So I think that answers some of your doubts, sir.
I'm sorry, we'll have to end with just one. I'm sorry?
One last question.
Okay, go ahead. That's the last question. Go ahead.
Good evening, all of you. My question is the title of the book itself. Why you have chosen the Vajpayee years? This is one question. Second question is, why not from the 13th, 14th century, when Kashmir was, before that it was a Kashmir Bhumi, and I'm a Kashmiri Hindu, and from with a 5,000-year-old history in Kashmir, and after a series of invasions that happened from 13th, 14th, 15th century onwards, you must have heard about Qutb-ud-Din, Sikandar, Aurangzeb, etc. The invasions happened and we all kept on moving from Kashmir. And now Kashmir is all without Kashmiri Hindus as of now. You must be knowing about all that. So do you think that series of invasions are still happening as of now in Kashmir? So there are two questions. One is question of why the title Vajpayee years. Second is the series of invasions. So do you think it's happening as of now also?
Second question I haven't understood.
It's a very historical question. I'm asking, so the series of invasions which happened in 13th, 14th, 15th century, so those are happening right now also, in 89 also.
Invasions.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So do you think that these invasions are going on because in 89, around 7 lakh Kashmiri Hindus fled from the valley. So they are living all over the world, in Pune also, like me. So do you think that, the series of invasions happening, and so from this nation is going to more into Islamic nation down the line?
जी नहीं, इन्वेजन तो अब कोई नहीं हो रहा है. इन्फिल्ट्रेशन होता है कभी कभार, वो चलता रहता है, लोग आते जाते रहते हैं और उससे हमें तकलीफ भी होती है. I won't call it an invasion. और वो जो टाइटल का आपने जिक्र किया कि why the Vajpayee years, actually this title was selected by my publishers. I just wanted to write a story from 88 to 2014, which I had witnessed or watched. तो उन्होंने कहा ये तो बड़ा डल है, अब आप इसको 13th century पे ले जाना चाहते हैं तो फिर तो बड़ी लंबी हिस्ट्री हो जाएगी. जैसे मैंने कहा कि भाई mine is only a viewpoint, it is not the final word on Kashmir, and a lot of people will differ with it. The more they differ, the more the book is selling. So Vajpayee years was brought in by the publishers. उन्होंने कहा तुमने वाजपेयी के साथ काम किया है. If we mention Vajpayee, the book will sell. Maybe that is why it's selling. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we are more or less coming to the end of this program. I'm not going to give you a summary of this extremely rich discussion that we've had, except to tell you that out of sheer curiosity, after reading Mr. Dulat's book, I went back to a new translation of Kautilya's Arthashastra to find out if anything had changed regarding spies that he had written about and what was being practiced here. And I must say that there were a couple of things which have remarkable similarities with what Kautilya preached and what Mr. Dulat practiced in Kashmir. One of them was, and this is a quote, "Miraculous results can be achieved by practicing the methods of subversion." And I mentioned this sentence because Mr. Dulat just referred to a great educationist, academic, Agha Ashraf Ali, and he said something to Mr. Dulat, and that something has been quoted in the book, and this is what it said: "You were sent to disrupt the Kashmir movement in the friendliest possible manner." And I think this he was able to achieve because he went beyond the routine remit of intelligence chiefs namely counterinsurgency. And it's a very, very of time, but I can tell you when you look back at the book list some of these things, his achievements have been truly remarkable. Mentions have been made about Majid Dar and how he was brought over, how a ceasefire was put in operation, how he and his lieutenants were killed, and so on. But there were several other instances where attention is focused on the kind of bribes that were paid to various people and so on and so forth. But at the same time, people's egos were also massaged. I mean, it's remarkable. The Arthashastra has 3 paragraphs on how spies should be massaging the egos of ambitious people. And I think Mr. Dulat did that with extreme dexterity in the case of Shabir Shah and convinced him that, you know, he's bound to become the next chief minister and so on. It's another matter that Mr. Shabir Shah didn't bite the bait at the moment. The only thing, and I want to conclude there, the only thing that Mr. Dulat did not follow Kautilya was, in one respect, Kautilya at one point says that secret agents everywhere have to make their appearance under various guises. And the Arthashastra lists some 59 professional roles that an agent is to play. I'm not going to list all of them, but they include dancers, acrobats, sellers of fruit, mendicants, fakirs, and so on. I don't think he has ever felt the need to wear anything but the clothes that he does wear. And for that reason alone, I think he's proved to be one of the most brilliant intelligence officers that independent India has produced. Thank you very much for your attention. I now request Prashant Gilbert to give a vote of thanks.
Hello. Yeah, and there's just 2 minutes of your time so that in your presence we do the honorable task before we conclude the session. Thank you so much, Mr. Dulat. As I said, to begin with, what an opportunity for us at Pune International Center, and what an occasion it's been. First of all, a huge thanks to Mr. Dulat and the publishers, the HarperCollins, who helped us to make this happen today. May I request Dr. Mashilkar to help us give a tiny little token of our appreciation to Mr. Dulat. Ravina, if you could please help. To Mr. Dulat, please. Thank you, sir. And if you all could also, we'll thank Mr. Jayant Umranikar for readily agreeing to come over here and to have address us all. Mr. Umranikar, please, if you could come. Sorry. Thank you. I request Dr. Mashilkar to please give a token of appreciation to Mr. Sanjay Nahar. We appreciate that we all are our own from Pune, but still we would like to thank you. And last but not least, may I request Dr. Mashilkar to please give a token of appreciation to General Patankar, a member of PIC again. Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Before I end this, I must say a huge thanks to all these young students. So all, please put your hands together for all of these students who came over here and made it very, very special. You all students must know that PIC board always reminds me and reminds us all that whatever we do must be done keeping in mind that you all are at the center of the programs that PIC would organize. So thank you all, thank you everyone here, thank you to friends in media. I'm glad that Mr. Dulat has kindly agreed to stay over for a few more minutes to interact with some of you guys that you have requested for. So thank you all and look forward to see you again at PIC programs. Thank you, bye-bye.